Right. Thank you, Rachel, and thank you for all your hard work for our party and for our country. And Happy New Year to everyone here. Thank you so much for coming along this morning. And welcome to UCL here East. Now, this is a bit of London that some of you are getting pretty familiar with in the last few days, so I've decided that I won't tell the Prime Minister where I'm going on holiday this year, just in case I find him there as well. But look, 2023 marks a new chapter for Britain. With a new king to be crowned in May, we must look forward with hope. But for hope to flourish, Britain needs change. And I don't think anyone seriously disputes that. It's the story of the country right now. Amidst all the chaos is a growing impatience for change, for real change, lasting change, national renewal. And yes, as they've done throughout our history, the British people are turning to Labour to provide that change. In 2022, they looked at us again, and I felt, for the first time in a while, we could return their gaze with confidence. That the changes we've made on anti-Semitism, on national security and NATO, on making economic stability the platform for everything we do, has restored a degree of trust, laid a foundation. And this year we've got to build on that. People know we care. They always know the Labour Party cares. And they can now see a party that is both competent and compassionate. A party that understands what it means to put service to the country first. But, colleagues, our task for 2023 is not to rest on our laurels. We need to push forward and rise to the moment. Prove we can be a bold reforming government. Show not just what the Tories have done to Britain, but the Britain that Labour can build. A fairer, greener, more dynamic country with an economy that works for everyone, not just those at the top. And a politics which trust communities with the power to control their destiny. A new government and a new way of governing. Britain needs both. And with Labour, Britain will get both. That's my message of hope for the new year. We're going to roll up our sleeves, fix the problems, and improve our country. We can't keep expecting the British people to just suck it up. Not without the hope, the possibility of something better. Don't get me wrong, I'm under no illusions about the scale of the challenges we face. Houses that get burgled countless times, yet the police never come. Hospitals, if you can believe it, putting out messages, begging patients to stay away from A&E. Children going to school hungry. And it's not just the poorest who are struggling. Millions of families, pensioners, working people, people who've always kept their heads above water, are going without decent food and heating. Cutting back on their holidays, their meals out, Christmas presents, all the little things that make life more enjoyable. Now, sometimes people say to me, we'll get through this. Britain's been through worse. And they're right. I grew up working class in the 1970s. I know what a cost of living crisis feels like. The anxiety and, yes, the shame of not being able to pay bills that only months ago were affordable. Our phone was cut off like this. And by the way, that was it. There were no mobiles back then. We got through it. Britain will get through it. The problem is that's exactly what the Tories are banking on. They're going to turn around in 2024 and try to claim some kind of political credit for the sacrifices working people are making right now. as if it's not their mistakes people are paying for again. But at the heart of this cynical politics is the cost to people of just getting through. The burden of living without the real hope of a better future. Not the sort of hope that fires grandiose utopian visions. I don't mean that. I mean the basic, ordinary hope we used to take for granted. The sort of hope you can build your future around, that aspirations are made of, and which can hold a country together when times are tough. That's why showing how we can change the country is so important this year. Labour can lift that burden, give people a sense of possibility again, light at the end of the tunnel, instead of... This is crucial because economic change must go hand in hand with political change. We have an economy that hoards potential and a politics that hoards power. And it's no coincidence, no accident, that this leaves us with more regional inequality than anywhere else in Europe. They feed off each other. And that's why I say Britain needs a completely new way of governing. Yes, we need to use the power of dynamic government, harness technology to drive through reform, convene a real industrial partnership between business and unions. But all of that must be done in service of a politics which trusts communities. I'm utterly convinced about this. The Westminster system is part of the problem. Now, I came into politics late in my career. I've run large organisations, institutions that had to serve our country. And I've changed them all, including the Labour Party. That's why I came into politics 8 years ago. A new way to serve, a new way to get things done, more opportunities to change our country for the better. But I have to say, I haven't found much of that in Westminster. Yes, there are good people, of course there are. Many MPs share my determination to tackle Britain's problems quickly. But as a system, it doesn't work. You know, sometimes I hear talk about a huge day in Westminster. But all that's happened is someone has passionately described a problem. And then that's it. Nothing's changed. The circus moves on. Rinse and repeat. Honestly, you can't overstate how much a short-term mindset dominates Westminster. And from there, how it infects all the institutions which try and fail to run Britain from the centre. You saw it yesterday from the Prime Minister. Commentary without solution. More promises, more platitudes. No ambition to take us forward. No sense of what the country needs. 13 years of nothing but sticking plaster politics. It's why every crisis hits Britain harder than our competitors. The only country in the G7 still poorer than it was before the pandemic. The worst decade for growth in 2 centuries. 7 million on waiting lists and rising. That hasn't happened elsewhere. You know, one of the greatest privileges of being born in Britain, certainly for all of my life, is knowing that if you get ill, if you have a serious accident, you'll get decent health care, whatever your circumstances. Not every country has that, and the anxiety it causes is huge. It's why 11 years ago, in the Olympic Stadium a few hundred yards away, we put the NHS on display to the world. It's who we are. We can't let sticking plaster politics destroy it. I won't stand for that, and Labour won't stand for that. It's why, for all the talk of levelling up, nothing ever happens. It's just that old game of passionately identifying a problem, rather than facing the real solution and accepting Westminster must give power away. Well, no more. No more sticking plaster politics. No more Westminster hoarding power. No more holding back this country's economic potential. This year we're going to show how real change comes from unlocking the pride and purpose of British communities. there are two steps to this. First, we will modernise central government so that it becomes dynamic, agile, strong and above all focused, driven by clear measurable objectives, national missions, a new approach to the power of government, more strategic, more relaxed about bringing the expertise of public and private, business and union, town and city, and using that partnership to drive our country forward. We will announce these missions in the coming weeks. Our manifesto will then be built around them, and they will be the driving force of the next Labour government. They will push us on to a better future, a decade of national renewal. But let me be clear, none of this should be taken as code for Labour getting its big government chequebook out. Of course investment is required. I can see the damage the Tories have done to our public services as plainly as anyone else. But we won't be able to spend our way out of their mess. It's not as simple as that. And this is the second of our two steps. Giving communities the chance to control their economic destiny. The argument is devastatingly simple. The decisions which create wealth in our communities should be taken by local people with skin in the game. And a huge power shift out of Westminster can transform our economy, our politics, and our democracy. I'll go back to Brexit. Yes, a whole host of issues were on that ballot paper. But as I went round the country campaigning for Remain, I couldn't disagree with the basic case so many Leave voters made to me. People who wanted public services they could rely on, high streets they could be proud of, opportunities for the next generation, and all of this in their town or their city. It was the same in the Scottish referendum in 2014. Many of those who voted yes did so for similar reasons. And it's not an unreasonable demand. It's not unreasonable for us to recognise the desire of communities to stand on their own feet. It's what take back control meant. The control people want is control over their lives and their communities. So we will embrace the take back control message, but we'll turn it from a slogan into a solution, from a catchphrase into change. We will spread control out of Westminster, devolve new powers over employment support, transport, energy, climate change, housing, culture, childcare provision and how councils run their finances. And we'll give communities a new right to request powers which go beyond even that. All this will be in a new Take Back Control bill, a centrepiece of our first King's speech. That bill will deliver on the demands for a new Britain, a new approach to politics and democracy, a new approach to growth and our economy.